number 7 as LAPD pursues that black Kia Soul up the 101 freeway. This all started in South LA, zigzagging through the Southwest Division, eventually ending up in downtown LA, through the buildings up Main Street, and just moments ago, getting on the freeway. There was originally 2 cars that were being followed. Some of the passengers from another car just piled up into that black Kia Soul, and now all parties are in that vehicle right there. Unclear how many people are inside this vehicle, but they are refusing to pull over, and they are now on the northbound side of the 101 freeway after coming through the 4-level interchange up the 110 freeway, and now approaching Hollywood as they make their way around a little bit of traffic here, hugging that left lane. You've got 5 units in pursuit here, an LAPD airship right overhead as well, and they are definitely applying a little pressure here. This is in and out of tracking mode, but for the time being, they are in hot pursuit of that Kia Soul. Now going back into tracking, pulling back the pursuit units just a little bit, giving the suspect a little more breathing room. The airship continuing to follow from above. That Kia still pushing 90 miles per hour as he makes his way northbound on the 101. LAPD seeking assistance from the California Highway Patrol, ready to hand this off if CHP is able to get involved. LAPD still following from a distance. They've got their rear lights on, sirens off. They're in tracking mode, but CHP is being called upon to take over this pursuit. So we'll see and look out for any sign of CHP here as we make our way up towards the Cahuenga Pass here. You can see him putting his lights back on. He was blacked out there for a little while. Definitely was looking for a hiding spot downtown for a little bit. You kind of got the feeling that he thought he might have gotten away, but the pressure was too much. He was able to get through those buildings and then navigate the entrance ramp to the 110 freeway, and he is now continuing at about 80 miles per hour up the 101 freeway into Hollywood here with moderate traffic behind him, light traffic as we speak here, a little bit more traffic as he gets further up the incline there into the San Fernando Valley. So we'll see if he takes this into the valley or if he pulls off of the 101 freeway here. Getting off the freeway, off the freeway at Hollywood Boulevard, making a left turn onto Hollywood Boulevard, going westbound on Hollywood Boulevard from the 101 freeway, making a wild left turn there, trying to get back on the freeway. Cut off a bus, it looked like, to get back on the freeway, now going southbound on the 101 freeway. Those units behind him were unable to keep up. We'll see if they make the turn with him eventually, but he is now picking up a lot of steam here, doing about 80 to 90 miles per hour. Light traffic on the southbound side. There are more units coming up the northbound side, and they're going to have to reset up to get eyes on this suspect here. You've got the LAPD airship right overhead here with the night sun on him, and he's looking for any help that they can from CHP. They are calling for CHP to get involved here, but that quick U-turn there is going to be a little bit of a challenge. They were starting to pile up on the right side. That might be the units that we're looking at coming up the northbound side of the 101 freeway. Suspect now traveling southbound on the 101 after a wild maneuver there off of Hollywood Boulevard to get back on the southbound ramp, and now still doing about 90 miles per hour with a little bit of traffic to contend with here, heading back towards downtown LA. And as soon as units are back in position, I presume they will put this back into pursuit mode. Clearly, You can see they are not hiding from the suspect. He is well aware of that helicopter shining the light right on them. And when he does finally come to a stop, you can expect there are numerous people that will jump out of that vehicle. We don't know exactly how many people, but they were following not one but two suspects at the same time. Eventually, one car pulled over. Suspects from another vehicle piled into this black Kia Soul that you're looking at right here, and now there are numerous suspects inside that car. You can see there was, it looked like a CHP unit that they just passed, so it looks like for the time being, CHP will not be getting involved, or at least that unit was not getting involved. Still doing about 90 miles per hour, something covering that right passenger side rear window. Could be a shade or it could be some kind of another covering. Anyways, there are multiple suspects in the front and back of this vehicle continuing southbound on the 101 freeway, coming up on Rampart Boulevard. That airship calling out the location, now passing Alvarado Street. Obviously, way too much traffic to even think of any kind of a pit maneuver or spike strip attempt here. Lots of cars on the freeway here. Moderate traffic as he gets closer to downtown LA. He almost was able to lose police in downtown, and you wonder if he's heading back towards the tall buildings of downtown LA that are an optimal opportunity for an experienced suspect to hide out, dump the vehicle, look for a hiding spot, look for a parking garage or an apartment building. Any of the above to try and blend in or dump the vehicle and then make a run for it. That seems to be the direction he's heading. We'll see if he sticks with the 101 freeway. He's all the way over to the left now, committed to the 101. Back over to the right, bypass that exit ramp. Got it, thank you. Getting off the freeway. What street is that, Josh? Getting onto the 5, onto the southbound 5 freeway. And the handoff has taken place. Now CHP in control. Picking up speed, 100 miles per hour. Yeah, that suspect on the run from LAPD who has just handed this pursuit over to the California Highway Patrol. Mark, he is in the heart of the East LA interchange here, southbound on the 5 freeway. As you mentioned, this pursuit started in South LA. There were actually two suspects, two vehicles being pursued at the same time. At one point, suspects from one vehicle dumped the other vehicle, and they all piled into this Kia Soul where there are believed to be 4 suspects inside of that car, unknown if armed. You can see LAPD with their airship right overhead, the night sun squarely aimed at that small SUV. And now, as I mentioned just moments ago, LAPD has handed this off to the California Highway Patrol, already putting a little more pressure on these guys. As you see that primary unit, no more than 4 car lengths right behind that suspect, who at times has been surpassing triple-digit speeds, hovering between 90 and 100 miles per hour where possible, even in some of the more congested areas area as he was going up the 101 freeway at one point, made his way into Hollywood, got off at Hollywood Boulevard, and then turned around, got on the southbound side of the 101 where he eventually transferred over to the 5 freeway. And again, we have a hot pursuit on our hands here. Not sure what other crimes have been committed here, Mark, but again, it is unclear whether these suspects are armed. That's exactly right. Not sure how it all started, whether it was some kind of a drag racing case. That's what it sounded like, but certainly a little odd considering the vehicle here. Look at this, getting off the freeway now on surface streets. A possible pit attempt, or at least an opportunity there as he was going just slow enough, but now he's in a residential neighborhood, and that CHP unit closing in a little bit. We'll see if they have given the go-ahead for that pit maneuver. Now turning on to Olympic Boulevard. We'll widen out just slightly and see if there's any other traffic in the area here. Looks like pretty quiet night on Olympic, now making the right turn off of Olympic at 8th Street. So a squirrely suspect who at times has been somewhat successful in trying to lose the police, but they have been able to catch up with him even during a little bit of an episode downtown LA, trying to hide in the buildings there, getting off the freeway for a short time, eventually getting back on the freeway, and then they were able to pick it up once again. So a squirrely, high-speed chase here, but that suspect refusing to pull over, Mark. Little slower now, but we're already seeing some pretty aggressive driving here, definitely going above the speed limit, and already I think I've counted at least one red light that he's flown through. So continuing to drive pretty aggressive. Definitely a dangerous suspect behind the wheel here. Again, we don't know what the original crime was, but the driving has been reckless throughout, and now you see him making a turn off of 8th onto Soto Street, and that will put him back in the direction of downtown LA. He has gotten close to other vehicles during the course of this pursuit, although we have not seen any collisions, and now getting back on the freeway. This is going to be the transition to the 60 freeway. It looks like the eastbound side of the 60. That's going to be, yeah, eastbound 60 as he now gets onto the freeway, back onto the freeway. This has been on and off the freeway for the better part of the last half hour. There have been numerous pursuits this evening. This is the second one in South LA in just the last hour or so. And again, LAPD eventually took this onto the freeway. That's where California Highway Patrol has now taken it over, and they have already shown to be a little more aggressive with this suspect, not pulling back at all. Again, there are believed to be 4 suspects inside of that Kia Soul. Whittier Boulevard. Yep, Whittier Boulevard, getting off the freeway here. Appears to be a random exit. He has not shown any kind of a pattern whatsoever. It really is more of a joyride than anything else. Look at this primary unit right up the left rear, and there comes a pit attempt, if you will. He was just inches away from that back bumper, and I don't think he made contact there, and now you see him blowing through a red light here. CHP slowing down, but we know that the go-ahead has been given for that pit maneuver, and I suspect now that we've seen that original attempt, we will likely see another one in short order here, especially with the very little traffic that you're seeing here, even on Whittier Boulevard this time of the night, proving to be a quiet Monday night here on the streets, or excuse me, yeah, it is Monday, right? Yeah, he's continuing, continuing down Whittier Boulevard just fast enough to avoid that pit maneuver. Cross traffic, lots of cross traffic. And he's doing about double, almost double the speed limit, pushing about 70 miles per hour on Whittier Boulevard. Speed limit can't be more than 45 at the most right here. And now slowing down for the green here. Now a wild right turn into oncoming lanes briefly there as he makes his way southbound on Downey Road off of Whittier Boulevard. Those units making the turn but pulling back. I have to wonder if they have put this in tracking mode once again. It would continue the pattern of engaging with the suspect and then pulling back at various points over the course of this pursuit. And once again, he has decided to get back on the freeway form right there. Not sure if he or just happened to be, I think that might have been a coincidence. The freeway, that CHP unit was like, wait a minute, and now he's going to get involved here. Surely he was hearing the radio traffic, and now the pursuit looks to be back on. You see those cherries and blueberries flashing blue and red here as we make our way now northbound on the 5 freeway, Mark. Yep, I-5 North making his way now through the East LA, back into the East LA interchange. He's really been on a number of freeways. He's already been on the 110 freeway, the 101 freeway, the 60 freeway, the 5 freeway. He's covered a lot of real estate in a short amount of time. Now in the spaghetti loop at the East LA interchange underneath the 5, maybe getting on the 10 here. As he gets off of the 60 freeway, it'll gradually turn into the 10 freeway, if I'm not mistaken, where he is right here. And that'll put him on the westbound side, if I'm not mistaken here, in a little bit, maybe another half mile or so. Westbound 10, yeah, westbound 10 here. We'll make our way through the Fashion District, eventually past downtown LA, hopefully, unless they get off the freeway, either onto the 110 freeway or try to hide downtown. Again, that's a tactic they have already tried and failed at, and we'll see if he takes this back into downtown or bypasses downtown altogether. Could take the West 10 all the way into West LA. We'll see what he does here. Still doing about 100 miles per hour with so much empty freeway to play with here. Trying to put a little bit of distance between him and those primary units. Right now, there are only 1 or 2 units behind him. You saw earlier on when he got off the freeway, there were a couple that fell back, but these are new units. I believe these are new black and whites who are now participating in this pursuit. 2 fresh eyes on this suspect as they continue to pursue this suspect. Code 3, lights and sirens on with the help of that LAPD airship overhead. That is where that night sun is coming from, shining a light on the suspect, helping out those officers, and also giving all of those other drivers on the freeway a heads up that there is police activity on the move, on the way. And you can see now it looks like he's getting off of the 10 freeway. This may put him on to Venice Boulevard potentially, or he might get onto the 110. We'll see here. Looks like he's getting on the southbound 110. Southbound 110 freeway, getting on the Harbor Freeway now. A wild move there, Mark. You're right. Kind of swerving around traffic to get off that ramp and onto the transition, and certainly was no match for those pursuing officers. They have easily been able to keep up with him as he has now transitioned onto the southbound side of the 110 freeway, where traffic once again is relatively light. We've already seen him push triple-digit speeds, and sure enough, already holding on to about 90 to 95 miles per hour as he merges onto the Harbor Freeway. Been trying to figure out at one point. Yeah, well, at one point it was completely obscuring the right side of that passenger seat in the rear there, and it does appear to be moving. So I don't know if it was intentionally trying to cover it up, or if there's if it's some kind of a shade, or perhaps something else that they are messing around with, maybe trying to conceal the window. In any event, I did catch that. There are now additional units joining this pursuit. We can now count up to 3 California Highway Patrol units joining this pursuit, and they are ready to perform a traffic break if they have the opportunity. The suspect getting all the way over to the right, That's an exit ramp that'll put him above the freeway here onto Vernon Avenue. Getting around traffic here, coming up on Vernon Avenue, getting off of the 110 freeway, and now making a right turn onto Flower, or off of Flower onto Vernon. So off of Flower onto Vernon, and now we can say that this pursuit is back in the general vicinity of where it began. In fact, we're very close to where it started, somewhere in the area of Central and Martin Luther King. And as you know, Mark, we're pretty close. So he is now back in more familiar territory, making a lot more sense because we've seen him cover so much ground going away from where it started. You just kind of got the impression that he had no real clear destination in mind. But now certainly it appears he is back on more familiar turf as he makes his way into Southwest LA, now on Vermont Avenue at 45th Street, blowing through red lights, trying to put some distance between him and those CHP units. We'll pull back here in just a second, see if we still have those units in tow here, and they have pulled back dramatically as well. In fact, they have slowed down. They are off the freeway now and pulling back, letting the helicopter do the work as he traverses the streets of South LA, and now it looks like at least one suspect has bailed, 2 suspects that we can see behind this building, and a third one. At least 3 suspects. We know that there were potentially 4 altogether inside that car. I can count at least 3 silhouettes in that alleyway. Yeah, fortunately, LAPD's airship does have the infrared, so they can get a better idea of where they're hiding out. Once they run out of steam, they'll start looking for a hiding spot. But this does appear, at least it appears to be, an area that they're a little bit more familiar with. And so you saw him running through those alleyways, just looking for any possible hiding spot. There they are, all 3 together still. Again, there were reports of 4 suspects, all 3 sticking together under that tree. You are right. They are trying to triangulate more officers into this area, but you get the impression now that that California Highway Patrol unit, those pursuing units, pulled back a little bit too soon. Now they're jumping fences into this community, trying to find private property to hide out in. And it's a more dangerous situation inherently, obviously, once you start seeing this kind of behavior, because there are people at home sleeping in these homes, and obviously could be in for a rude awakening if you've got trespassers trying to break into your home looking for a hiding spot. In this case, it looks like he's trying to get on the roof there, trying to help his buddy on the roof. and that'll just make it easier. Very good, yeah, impressive. Kansas Avenue and 49th Street. Kansas Avenue, 49th, LAPD now pulling into the alley with their guns drawn. LAPD with their guns drawn. They've got the red hoodie at gunpoint. Red hoodie at gunpoint. Remember, we still have another suspect on the other side of that wall on private property. The red hoodie is out of luck, and we know that there was at least a third person who went running as well. Again, we had heard there were a total of 4. We have only seen 3, and now we have one person in the yard, a person in a red hoodie at gunpoint, and those are the initial LAPD units to arrive on scene here. But that house near the top of your screen is the private property in question, where we believe there is another person hiding out on that property, or at least there was just a few seconds ago. It does look like a yard. Yeah, it looks like some tennis courts and a track and field there near the top of your screen. Don't know the name of that school off the top of my head, but you can see 50th Street there near the top of your screen at Kansas Avenue now being flooded with LAPD units in this area. There's going to be an intense foot search for that suspect as they try and lock down this area. It's unclear whether they've had enough units available to really form a solid perimeter just yet. But right now, the task at hand is trying to get that suspect on the other side of that fence in custody. Now, they probably have a bolt cutter that they could use to unlock that fence. Otherwise, they'll have to resort to more athletic measures. But in the meantime, that home near the top of your screen is the last known location that we saw that buddy of his climb over the wall, eventually under the roof of that back house, or that ADU, as you mentioned, and then tried to hide out there. There's a van in that backyard. There's all kinds of hiding spots. Unclear whether he has passed through there or if he is still hiding out somewhere. That is information that we don't have, but likely that LAPD airship was probably able to narrow down or at least get a better idea of his location. Copy. Copy. Kansas 50th. Let's get a little closer if we could, Ryan. If it's possible. A little closer, a little closer. Got him. Perfect. All right, let's get over it. Under the van. '90 away. A little closer if we could. Okay. Then we're good. Copy that. That's right, those suspects leading LAPD and the California Highway Patrol over here to South LA at Kansas Avenue and 49th Street. You saw one person taken into custody off the top of our newscast. A second suspect who was hiding underneath that white van in somebody's backyard has just been placed into handcuffs, and now a third suspect in between that building and the van, now at gunpoint as LAPD prepares to take yet a third suspect into custody. It is unclear whether there was a fourth person inside that vehicle, but it does appear that this pursuit has come to an end. Reporting live from Air 7, I'm Chris Christie, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.